Hi, welcome to another videos on ergonomics, and today I'm going to talk about ergonomic risk factors that most likely exist in a workplace. Exposure to these known risk factors increases a worker's risk of developing musculoskeletal disorders or simply MSDs. The following presentation will be centered on initial stage of assessment that identifies ergonomic risk factors. It is important to understand the task that you are going to assess before begins the assessment. For each risk factors, I will suggest a more advanced tools that can be used to further assess the job. You can refer to my previous video on how to use these tools. Okay, let's get started. Ergonomic risk factors are conditions of a job process, workstation, or work methods that contribute to the risk of musculoskeletal disorders. These include damaged bones, muscle, ligaments, tendons, nerve, and blood vessel. There are 7 main ergonomic risk factors to consider when evaluating a job. They are repetitive motions, awkward posture, static and sustained work posture, forceful exertions, contact stress, vibrations, and environmental factors. In general, 2 or more risk factors may be present at one time, thereby increasing the risk of injury. When assessing the ergonomic risk, 4 key indicators of ergonomic exposure should be taken into account. First, the intensity of the workload, that is force applied when performing the task. Second, the frequency of the workload, that is how often the action is repeated. Third is the duration of exposure, that is amount of time spent in one position. And the fourth is combination of risk factors, where the worker is exposed to more than one risk factor at one time. The more risk factor exists at once, the more likely an injury will occur. Repetitive motion is repeated movement of the same group of body joints and muscle too frequent, too quickly, and over a long period of durations. Tasks with repetitive motion usually involve other risk factors such as static posture and use of force. Repetitive motion tasks can be found in assembly, production, processing, packaging, as well as use of hand tools. ART is a good advanced assessment tool for assessing repetitive motions. Repetitive sequence of movement usually involve upper limb action which are repeated over and over again. The severity of the risk depends on how the action is repeated, the speed of the movement, and the required force. High task repetition can cause fatigue and muscle strain. Most affected body parts are hands, arms, and shoulders. A job is considered high risk if the sequence is more than twice per minute and performed 3 hours in a day or 1 hour continuously without a break. Other contributing factors are awkward posture and static posture. Repetitive motion can also occur with the intensive use of fingers or hands, such as assembling parts or data entry into computer by typing a keyboard or clicking a mouse. The risk for injury is high if repeated for more than 3 hours in a day or 1 hour continuously without a break. The most affected body parts are arms, wrists, and fingers. The risk is increased when combined with awkward posture such as wrist deviation and sitting for a long period of time. For the task on the right, that is computer data entry, you can use ROSA to accessing the computer workstations. Another example of repetitive motion is when a task involving repeated high-impact hand strikes, that is use of heel, base of palm, and knee as a hammer. The risk is higher if the action is repeated for more than once per minute for 2 hours in a day. Such repetitive motion can cause pain to upper back and damage to soft tissue in the hand, wrist, and palm. Other contributing factors are use of force and awkward posture. Awkward posture is position of body parts that deviate significantly from the natural working posture while task is being performed. When a part of the body is in awkward posture, the bone, muscles, and tendons are not in their natural alignment. Body parts that are commonly deviate are head, trunk, leg, arm, hands, and fingers. Working while maintaining an awkward posture increases the risk of musculoskeletal injuries. REBA and ruler are the advanced assessment tools for assessing posture risk. There are a number of different awkward postures that might result in injury over time. Working with head bent downward too far can cause strain on the neck muscle and shoulders, especially if the workers hold this position for a long period of time. The risk is high if bent downward more than 45 degrees for more than 2 hours in a day. Contributing factors that can be associated with this posture are repetitive motion and arm extended forward. Similarly, head bent backward for more than 2 hours in a day poses stress on neck and shoulder. Normally, this posture is combined with arm above shoulder or head. Sometimes a worker has to bend his head sideways when performing a task. If he maintains this position for more than 2 hours in a day, it can place strains on neck and shoulder muscles, especially in static conditions. Contributing factors for this posture are arm extended forward and back bent forward. Another common awkward posture is back bent forward. Working in this posture places a lot of strains on the muscle at the lower back and shoulder, especially if bent more than 30 degrees for more than 2 hours in a day. Lower back pain may or may not extend down into the legs. There are few cases when a worker needs to bend his back backwards. Back bend backwards more than 20 degrees for more than 2 hours in a day pose the same risk to shoulders and lower back. Normally, this posture is combined with head bent backwards. A worker may have to bend his back sideways, especially at a congested working area. This posture places a lot of strains on lower back muscle if bent more than 2 hours in a day. Other contributing factors are arm extended forward and use of force. Most of the tasks performed requires arm to be extended forward at some degree. It involves long reach, especially if the arm extended more than 45 degrees for more than 2 hours in a day. This posture has the greatest impact on the arm, shoulders, and upper back. Arm abduction sideways places a lot of strains on arm, shoulders, and upper back, especially if the arm abducted for more than 4 hours in a day. This posture, combined with other awkward posture and use of force such as hammering and pressing. Hand above head occur when a worker needs to reach an object that located above head level. Maintaining this posture for more than once per minute and more than 2 hours in a day usually have a lot of impact on the upper back, shoulder, and arm. Normally, this posture combined with back bend forward and use of force. Wrist deviation normally occur while typing a small keyboard, such as a laptop. It also can occur during handling hand tools. This can lead to carpal tunnel syndrome, a condition that causes pain, numbness, or tingling in hand. It happens because of pressure on median nerve. Wrist deviation are only risk for injury when deviate more than 15 degrees for 2 hours in a day. Also, the risk even greater when combined with force or repetitive motions. Kneeling and squatting is a good alternative to bending at the waist, but only for the short period of time. Kneeling and squatting for too long, more than 2 hours in a day, will build up pressure behind the kneecap and it can cause pain to the knee and leg. Normally, this posture is combined with arm extended forward and use of force. Static or sustained posture refers to minimal or restricted or no movement where the body held on a particular position over a long period of time. Maintaining a fixed posture can lead to fatigue, pain, and injuries. Among the most common examples for static or sustained posture are prolonged standing and sitting. Both postures will stress the spine and cause muscle fatigue and pain. Prolonged standing refers to any work activities involving standing position with minimal movement for duration more than 2 hours continuously. It can affect the legs and lower back. Other contributing factors are head bend downward and contact stress. You can use rebar to further assess the task. Workers may be exposed to static posture when they must sit for a prolonged period without the opportunity to stand up and move around. It can cause stress to the legs and lower back if sitting for duration more than 30 minutes continuously. The risk increases if sitting on chair or stools that do not provide adequate lumbar support or there is no backrest. Also, the risk even greater when combined with awkward posture and use of force. You can use ruler to further assess this task. Forceful exertion involves the use of high-level force while lifting, carrying, lowering, moving, pulling, and pushing a load using hands or through the application of body force. These activities are also known as manual handling. Manual handling activities can lead to serious physical injury to the legs, hips, shoulders, and arms. Awkward posture are factors that may contribute to the high risk. If these activities are repeated over and over again, it should be further assessed by using the MAC tools. The following charts recommend safe lifting limits for men and women. The recommended maximum weight limit should be adjusted depending on gender of the worker and how the load is being lifted. That is, how close to the body the load is held and how high or how low the weight is lifted. In this example, for the load lifted at shoulder level and close to body, the recommended weight limit is 10 kg. At elbow levels and close to body, the weight limit is 20 kg. And at mid-lower leg but far from body is 10 kg. Assessors should carry out a manual handling risk assessment to assess any manual handling or lifting that a worker is required to do as part of their work. Manual handling activity become high risk of developing MSD if the load weight is more than the limits. Highly repeated lifting and lowering and involve twisted body during lifting and lowering. Pushing and pulling is another method of manual handling by using mechanical aids such as trolley and pallet jack. This method is a good solution for carrying of load manually. There is a different weight limit for men and women. Forceful exertion can also develop when worker hands or finger hold or squeeze something that requires some effort. This can strain the muscle in their arm, hands, and finger, as well as the tendons. The severity of the risk is dependent on the amount of force applied. High hand force normally combined with awkward posture and contact stress. Contact stress occurs when part of the body, usually hands and arms, rubs against objects. Examples of contact stress are using hand to pressing or rubbing against materials. This puts pressure on nerve and reduces blood flow. The severity depends on how long the body parts contact, how hard the worker applies the contact, and whether the worker is wearing PPE such as glove or not. Other contributing factors for contact stress are awkward posture and use of force. Another example are pressing your body against hard objects such as table surface, table edge, resting your arms on armrests or wrist on keyboard when typing. Also, contact stress can occur when holding rough surface material or holding tools with hard handles. There are two types of vibration: hands, arms vibration and whole body vibration. Hand arms vibration occur when part of the body comes into contact with a vibrating handheld power tools such as pneumatic bolting machine, chainsaw, and electrical drill. Hands arm vibration can cause white finger, a permanent and painful numbness and tingling in the hands and arms, also painful joints and muscle weakening. The risk is high if the workers operate the vibrating tools for more than 5 hours in 8 hours shift work. Exposure to whole body vibration can occur while sitting or standing in vibrating environment or objects such as heavy-duty vehicles or large machinery or other work vehicles over rough and uneven surfaces. Vibrating transmitted through the seat or feet may cause health risks including back pain. The risk is high if the worker exposed to whole body vibration for more than 5 hours in 8 hours shift work. Environmental factors refers to stressful factors in the environments that affect human comfort, activity, and health. Some examples of ergonomic environmental problems are noise, air ventilation, lighting, and heat. This concludes my presentation on ergonomic risk factors. I hope this will be a useful guide for conducting initial ergonomic risk assessment. Thank you and see you again.